I'm going to do a quick AI rant tonight. I'm going to talk about content creation in the age of AI. And basically, if you notice, I've been putting a lot of music out. Um, my pipeline right now for doing this stuff, I've used Fruity Loops in the past and stuff like Acid to make music. And then this new tool came out called Suno AI. You can check it out at app.suno, S-U-N-O, .ai. And it's just an amazing AI tool for creating lyrics. It can generate or creating songs. It can do instrumentals. It can um, do it with singers, and you can iterate over the pieces, parts of it, and it is just amazing. In fact, a lot of people, even though I tag all my music that I put up as done with Suno AI, and some of the music I indicate that. I think a lot of people that are just kind of cruising through don't realize that AI was at least part of the pipeline in all of this. And I love Suno AI. It's just so fun to play with. But at the same time, as I was playing with it, this hit me for the second time. The first time the damage that AI can do to society hit me was with AI art. I am an AI artist, whatever that means. It means I crank out all sorts of AI art. Lately, I've been shifting more into music, and probably as the video stuff gets even better and better, I will shift into that as well. Um, like someone just sent me a deep fake, or not a deep fake, but an ad video. And if you're looking at it and you're paying very close attention, you can tell it was done with AI, maybe. But even somebody who really knows the tells of AI generated video, if they were, this is my opinion, if they were just watching this and they weren't actively seeking, um, what they're looking at as being AI, they probably wouldn't catch it. It'd probably just blow right through. Um, so all the people who did little bit parts in commercials are now under threat. Now all the people who make music are under threat. Like again, the first time I saw this was like uh, with Midjourney. It created stuff that was so good. I'm like, oh no. Or at first I was like stoked I can use it because I make little indie RPG pen and pencil games every once in a while, and I'm like, oh, I can use this for all my illustrations. Some people are already doing that, and I thought about all the jobs of illustrators that are really talented people now are going to be under threat because a lot of indie people that can do something that isn't quite as good as what they do, but it gets better every time, and they can do it at essentially free or very little cost. And the problem with AI is typically when you have humans do a task, there's a group of humans that can do the specific task really well, and they're very expensive. There's a group of humans that can do the task mediocre, and they're still pretty expensive. And then there's humans that just suck and usually don't even bother with this group. You're usually getting the medium or the good people. And sometimes you have a mix. Like usually in software development, it seems like there's a couple rock stars and then a bunch of us medium folk that kind of support the rock stars. Um, but with AI, there's a new gradient of things. It can't quite do rock star level stuff, wherever which hand I was using. Say this one, the top, but it can do in this middle section between top and very in decent what humans are. So it can do it better than this mid tier of humanity, but it can do it at sometimes a hundredth of the cost or less, and sometimes a tenth of the time or less. So this new gradient here between if I get between the rock stars and the medium, AI is going to fill all this part here, and it's going to be super cheap. And you've already got kind of the low end people fit for a task that aren't being hired, and now it's going to creep into the middle tier of people that aren't going to be hired. And then the long-term ramifications of that, which is scary, is usually to get to the rock star point, you have to kind of go through this spectrum of starting off kind of crappy, and then you get pretty good, and then you get up to the really good part. And the problem is if this spectrum's all done by AI, what happens to the future good group here? How do we get people here if you've got to wade through all this AI stuff to get there? Um, So it's a really interesting problem that'll come up. And then does it become idiocracy where because no one's doing stuff, the AIs just are kind of floating on that like halfway point and over, keeping not quite to the best part. So there's not as much innovation, although in some ways AI will be able to innovate without humans just fine. It just maybe won't be able to push the boundaries as much. But of what is known, it'll just go vertical on that. Maybe the horizontal stuff will have problems until AI gets good enough to be classified as artificial superintelligence. But I'll do another rant on that. My rant is people like bands like Dynatron, Laserhawk, all these great synthwave indie bands that I really love on Bandcamp. At first, using Suno, I was just totally stoked because I can do stuff like 80% as good as them. They might argue with that or take that as an insult. In minutes, within a half hour to 45 minutes, I can crank out a song, put it on YouTube, use Ideogram to create an album cover for it, and boom, it's gone. And then there's another job lost. Album cover people, illustrators, RPG illustrators, book cover creators, and then pretty soon, already I'm sure it's happening, blogs. Now you're just going to be able to give this multi-shot prompt engine a blog concept. It's going to flush out all the details, go out on the internet and scrape a bunch of data, adjust itself, put links to things, and then it's going to hit an API and publish itself. And it might even come to the point where human content creators get so lazy they just have an algorithm pick topics and they don't even do anything. They just sit there and they're publishing 300 blogs a day or more. And then you got hundreds of people doing that, or videos. Like somebody sent me an ad video, and I think I just talked about it, but this is my second take on it, so I'm not sure. And the ad video, if you weren't paying attention, it's pretty much someone who's really good at picking out AI tells would know that video is AI generated. But even those types, if they're just watching 100 commercials go by as they're watching a TV thing or an internet site where a YouTube ad pops up and they're not really paying close attention, I don't think they'd catch that it's AI. It's that good. And eventually it'll be indistinguishable. A lot of people are talking about some of the latest British royalty videos. I don't pay too much attention to all that stuff, but are they AI generated or not? At first the person asked me about it. I told him I don't think so. That looks like it's on a sound stage because the sound's looped to the birds and stuff. But now it's like, well, maybe it was. I just said I couldn't tell. I can tell there's something funky with it, but I can't tell it's AI. There it goes. And then you've got people that, again, do the bit acting for all that stuff. The people who film the commercials. You got Suno coming out from OpenAI, which has the potential to be extremely revolutionary for creating video. And then what's going to happen to all the low and mid-tier jobs where people are replaced by AI and they never pick up the skills to get to the good stuff? And even like with using the Bandcamp example, let's say you're Laserhawk and you love doing music and it provides a nice chunk of cash, but not enough to be your primary day job. And then you see all these kids turning out just tons of stuff with AI. That's pretty good. And then you look at what your take's going to be. It's going to be less. You're still, because you're an established band, you're still going to have followers. They're still going to buy your music, but it's going to be less. At one point, you got to weigh how much do I need this extra income versus spending time with my family and stuff, or working more on my primary gig. So they're going to be, even though they're an established band that can keep doing stuff, they're going to be de-incentivized to keep content creating. So it's a brave new world. And all I can say is if you're younger, get into the jobs while you can, because they may not be there. And you want to elevate quickly from a low level to a mid level and then hopefully high level person as fast as you can so that you can stay making money as long as you can. And then there's the whole topic about universal basic income. And I would say do not ever make that your primary source of income, or even an income source that without it you couldn't survive. This is just my personal take on things. regardless of what is offered in the future, if you take that and grow relying on it and you're not adding value, I think that society in the West and in the whole world is kind of going to go through another dark age pretty soon. I mean, the potential to avoid that with AI is there, and maybe I'll do another rant on that. But it's just human nature, all things remaining equal. We're probably going to go through some kind of dark age. If you're a Christian like me, you might think it's, this is it. The big one's coming, the Antichrist and all that stuff. I won't get into that on this rant. But a dark age, let's say at minimum. And as governments struggle to meet all their obligations and things get real rough, and they've got a bunch of people who take resources that aren't doing anything, that's not a place you want to be. It's just not. So that's just my advice. And I don't look at it as political advice. I just look at it as a wise advice. Wise advice. I'm not saying that it shouldn't be universal basic income or not. I'm just saying I wouldn't, whatever comes, have that and something else that you can survive with if this goes away, the UBI. But anyway, make hay while the sun shines, because AI is going to close a lot of doors, and it sucks. The tools are amazing. They're fun to play with, but at the same time, we're dooming lots of content creators that normally would be in those niches to compete in other markets that are also going to be impacted by AI. So we're in a negative feedback loop. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is. That might be another rant. That's all I got for tonight. Take care and good luck.